Another year gone down, and now we're starting anew. Welcome to 2017 here on the Popcast Network and the wrestling coverage that we do every single Monday and Wednesday night, every single week here on the network. And of course, we're going to be covering various things throughout the year, including both WWE and Ring of Honor pay-per-views. When there's a TNA pay-per-view, we should be able to cover that. And we're going to be doing some pretty good coverage on Wrestle Kingdom. So that's something to look forward to. So, yeah. Welcome to another edition of the WWE Monday Night Raw Popcast here on the Popcast Network. My name is Suro, and joining me, as always, is Ashley.
Having enough money to support your family. Having custody over my kids, seeing my wife again, living in a house, having money to pay for food.
Oh, you never knew the true meaning of that song.
Oh my God. Certainly not a version I've heard before. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Raw. It just finished in Tampa. This was the return of Goldberg to television and had a lot of things that they were hyping up. Now, one of the big things of the week, and we mentioned this, was the fact that SmackDown actually won the ratings war. And since SmackDown won the ratings war, apparently that meant that we'd promote SmackDown even more hardcore during every single commercial break tonight.
And it's now storyline.
Uh-huh.
As if we're not hiding the fact that Raw last week was up against Christmas.
Right.
SmackDown wasn't. And this week, Raw's going up against the final round of matches with the NFL. SmackDown isn't. And next week, Raw's apparently going up against one of the giant college championship games. And SmackDown isn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of advantages that SmackDown has. Welcome, Jeremy, to chat. Honestly...
In all honesty, Raw isn't going to get rosy until we get past Super Bowl.
Probably.
Well, then again, I think all the Super Bowl playoff matches are Saturday and Sunday anyway. So from next week, which is why they're going big because of the whole Mania announcement, probably.
Yeah, they'll announce
with
next week.
Holy shit, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels are on the show. Oh, sorry, Undertaker may be on the show. Sorry, I don't read dirt sheets. Hello, Dave. My only question is Ember Moon. Where is she? I want to know where Ember Moon.
I ain't gonna lie, that girl had a big ass, though. Everybody say it with me. That ass. That ass.
Maybe 2017, but the old ones are fucking coming back.
Yeah, it is a new year, but we're still using the same old sounders, but that's because they work.
Which is exactly the same argument for Raw. Except the last bit that it works. Except the last bit that it works for WWE.
So, spoiler alert, we actually had a lot of matches tonight.
If you count the 2 that they taped for main event, we had 11.
11, yeah.
I don't even know if they're having a dark match. I'm having to keep an eye on the man who always goes to Florida shows, Mr. Jacob Cohen. The man that tells me everything that happens with TNA.
Well, to be honest, if I would have been in town like I was supposed to be, I may have been at the show tonight, but I was not. The next time that obviously the next time that Raw's going to be in Orlando, I'll definitely be there. So not going to be a problem. Oh, that's horrible. So let's talk about the show, shall we? Tickets are still available for New Orleans next week. So, yeah, there's always that.
Yeah. Okay, Renee apparently has tweeted that strip mall sushi was a bad idea.
Probably.
I don't know what that's about. Yeah. I need to see if Jacob's tweeted anything. Anything happening afterwards. No, he still hasn't tweeted. So I don't know whether they're actually finished. They're telling everybody, go home! Go home!
Probably announcing a return for SmackDown or Raw next year. Later this year, if I had to guess. But yeah, let's talk about this show, shall we? A lot of things it had to live up to. They announced a couple of things in advance. They were talking the last man standing match was Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman. And earlier today, you clued me into Cesaro against Carl Anderson, which yes, and that's about it. Everything else was pretty much just a tag team match that was supposed to happen between Enzo and Cass against Rusev and Jinder Mahal. Didn't always go down that way. So yeah. Let's talk about Raw, shall we?
Clip. There was an interesting clip that I've just found of what Triple H said to the Bollywood boys when they said, "Can we be on the Cruiserweight Classic?" Live. He just said this. I found a new clip. Oh, go home. So, we start off with hyping up Goldberg's on tonight, and we got a last man standing match, which they did in the wrong order. So Mick Foley's in the ring with a haircut, sort of looking more like Commissioner Foley, except he's GM.
Yeah, I could see that.
And Stephanie's Commissioner. Even though I'm pretty sure they're the same job.
Yeah, I think so.
And says, some of his New Year's resolutions include a new look and also writing the name of the town that he's in on his hand. So we're right here in Jackson, and then shows his hand and it says Tampa. So clearly Matthew got name dropped there. Probably. But another one of his New Year's resolutions started last month. Because apparently the shark cage was one of his New Year's resolutions. I love the fact that they keep calling it a shark cage. Because I'm pretty sure they use more sturdy things as a shark cage than that shit. I guess they can't call it a crash cage because then it sounds like, well, it's going to fucking break. And again, if we're trying to be realistic like the toy. So then Kevin and Jericho make their way out. Owens is like, do you think it's funny that Chris is going to be hanging over the 100 foot in the air? Like, what was it, Kevin? Or what was it, Chris? A sexy pinata. Yeah, a pinata. And then, of course, Chris goes, no, a sexy pinata. A sexy pinata. And Chris says, you think that's funny? You know what's truly funny? Your abuse of power. It's worse than your haircut. It's clear that you're going power crazy. 1, Roman's getting a title rematch at the Rumble. And 2, Rollins attacked Chris and gets no punishment for doing so. But Y2J helps out his friend to retain their Universal title. And he gets put in a cage in the match. Clearly, Mick's got an issue with them. And they can't stand for it anymore. So Foley goes, okay, I'm going to wipe the slate clean. And you keep talking about the Kevin Owens show, Kevin. And I wouldn't mind seeing it. So tonight will be the debut of the Kevin Owens Show talk show. And your first guest is going to be Goldberg. So at first, they're like, well, I'm not happy with you choosing my guest, but we got some questions for him. Like, where's he been the past 12 years? Does he like chicken? Yeah. Why is the video game he's in so buggy and shit? And then they go back to the abuse of power thing. But then keep in mind, Stephanie does a promo here where she's clearly trying to be face. Saying, she says that Foley had all the rights to do what he did, in organising the shark cage match, but she would have liked to have been told. And Foley goes, well, the same can be go for you, match with Sami Zayn and Braun Strowman. And Owens is like, who cares about whatever the bickering between you two? Me and Chris are national treasures. And I'm like, fucking yes.
Of course.
Actually, yes. Fuck Stephanie. Everybody else in that ring is a national treasure. International treasure. Not even national. And Stephanie goes, Mick, I think you might agree with what I've got planned for tonight. Roman's going to be defending the US title tonight against Chris Jericho. But I'm going to tweak it. And if Roman gets DQ'd or counted out, Jericho wins. So Chris and Kevin like this, but then they go, what about Seth? I think he should be banned from ringside. And Foley goes, well, I think Kevin should be banned from ringside. So Stephanie says, behave, a lot of you. I'm livid that SmackDown beat us in the ratings for the first time ever. Which I'm pretty sure isn't the first time ever. Probably. I'm pretty sure SmackDown beat Raw during some of the heyday of the
SmackDown 6.
The Paul Heyman era. Yeah, when Paul Heyman was booking it, like 04.
Yep.
05-ish. 03. So she tells Owens that you're facing Rollins next. Whoever loses the match will be banned from ringside for the US title match. Tells Jericho to get ready for his match and tells Foley to focus because they've got a ratings war to win. But nobody cares about the fucking brand. Cunts. Seriously. Why are we making out that people give a fuck about this brand split? It will actually say a lot now if the numbers for Raw and SmackDown stay exactly the fucking same for each of the shows. And literally the ratings war is basically on a handful of, like, let's say 10,000 viewers either way for the next 3 months. That tells you your product is stagnating like fuck. Also keep in mind you know, the figures for the network in terms of, you know, subscribers hasn't gone up over the last 3 months. You know, if you look at the last 2 sets of figures, it hadn't even moved. So how you can say that there's interest in your product when the amount of interest in people actually wanting to pay for the shit is little, plus how much shit you actually put up for free on fucking YouTube or WWE.com.
And there's another big issue that's coming down the pike as well, and that's the fact that Spectrum Cable may be doing away with USA. And if that happens, that's going to take Raw out of a lot, and I do mean a lot, of homes.
Yeah, but that also means SmackDown will be taken from a lot of homes.
Exactly.
Not just Raw and SmackDown. Let's just hope the viewership goes down even further. And the great thing about that shit is Spectrum are blaming NBC.
Right.
And NBC are blaming Spectrum.
Also right.
We have good old fucking trench warfare here, ladies and gentlemen. This is like the fucking Somme. We're moving inches, if that, in this battle. Fuck, the Golden Globes are going to be more interesting.
Yes.
10 seconds. You fucking said.
Let me bring something up real quick. We're not watching the Bring It to the Table. At least I'm not. I did notice something, and I wanted to bring this up while I'm thinking about it.
Oh, so we start.
So Peter Rosenberg, we were kind of giving him a lot of flack for wearing the American Alpha shirt and everything, and he didn't really come off. It didn't come off very well on the pre-show panel. It's not as great as Sam Roberts did, because Sam Roberts is awesome. I will give Peter Rosenberg one thing real quick before we get started with talking about Raw. Ashley, did you get a chance to check out what Peter Rosenberg is wearing for a shirt during this, underneath his blazer?
Gotcha.
He's wearing a Brian Pillman t-shirt, and it makes me very happy to see, to be totally honest. For those of you that don't know, I don't think I've ever told this story on the network before. Since Ashley had dropped out, I can actually say it real quick. I was a big Brian Pillman fan, huge Flying Brian fan growing up. I remember seeing him at the first show I ever went to in 1990. It was him in a tag team match, teaming up with Sting, actually. And I was always a big fan. I actually was able to meet Brian at department store in Charleston, West Virginia, that is long since closed, called Best. And I remember meeting him, and I have a picture of me with Brian Pillman, and it's one of the most awesome things ever. That was when Pillman was the light heavyweight champion, and Lex Luger was the world heavyweight champion, and the match was Luger against Pillman. And I'll never forget this to this day. I actually looked up at Brian as a child, and I said, "Kick Luger's butt," and he sort of laughed. The Pillman shows, the Brian Pillman Memorial shows they had in Cincinnati, I actually had tickets to one, which weirdly enough would end up being the last Pillman show in 1999. And I'm trying to make sure I have all that information correct. I got to make sure I have the right days here. Yeah, the last Pillman show that they did was in 2001, and that's the one I actually had tickets for. This was a show, took place in Cincinnati. There were 17 matches on the show. Now think about this. The main event were the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian versus DDP and Canyon. Some of the matches on this show, Nigel McGuinness versus The Machine, which was Doug Basham of the Bashams. Rob Conway and Rob H2O Waterman defeating Payne and Damien, the Disciples of Sin. Damien basically is responsible for a lot of my, I can't say training, but I can say a lot of things I know about the wrestling business, and that is a good friend of mine by the name of Brian Logan. J.R. Ryder defeating Richard Pound. Chad Collier over Donovan Morgan. It was Cody Hawk and Lance Cade, or Garrison Cade, depending on how you know him, and taking on ECMO and Chemo, which is basically the Island Boys of Umaga and Rosie. So Rosie and Umaga. Randy Orton defeating Flash Flanagan. The Damaja, and which also known as Danny Basham. So yeah, that was interesting. And Hardcore defeating the A Squad of the Jet Jablonski and Dean Jablonski. Charlie and Russ Hawes defeating Steve Bradley and Rico Constantino. Matt Striker winning a four-way over Pepper Parks, who was the HWA Cruiserweight Champion at the time. Shark Boy and Chad Collier. If you know Pepper Parks, obviously you would know him in TNA now. And I'm very glad that he made it. His name's Braxton Sutter now, and I got a chance to chat with him and his wife, Jerry Bomb, Laura Dennis Alley, depending on how you're looking at it. And I got to see that at when we went to Impact tapings in October of this past year. Nick Dinsmore, you guys remember him as Eugene. He defeated Ray Steele for the HWA Heavyweight Championship. Terry Taylor defeated Beautiful Bobby Eaton in a Legends match with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat as the referee. Steve Corino defended the NWA World Heavyweight title against David Flair. Mark Henry defeated Hugh Morris, and Lita defeated Victoria. Evan Courageous over Chris Candido, and the semi-main was Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko of the Radicals defeating Raven and Just Incredible. So yeah, it was the final Pillman Memorial show, and I had tickets for it. I actually was working as a telemarketer at the time. And working as a telemarketer at the time, I was able to have a lot of disposable income. Well, I had somebody that wanted to go to the show, and it fell through at the last minute, so I did not get to go, which was a big shame, to be totally honest. So I did not get a chance to go to Pillman Memorial in 2001. I wish I could have. Honestly, I really wanted to. If you go back to the Pillman shows, there's a lot of really great stuff that came out of them. The first one was in 98. The main event was Chris Benoit over Chris Jericho and Al Snow over Chris Candido. Those are matches that probably would know a lot about. The second one was in 99, with the main event being Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko losing to Conan and Rey Mysterio Jr. That was during the days of the Filthy Animals. Mankind over D'Lo Brown, Al Snow over Road Dogg. Then, of course, we get to 2000, which is when we started getting a lot of matches. There were 15 matches on the card. The main event was Eddie Guerrero and D'Lo Brown defeating Perry Saturn and Dean Malenko. Just Incredible defended the ECW World Championship against Raven. DDP over Shane Douglas. Chris Benoit and Steven Regal in a match for the Intercontinental Championship that to this day is still a lot of people's favorite match, or definitely in the conversation. Maybe not after everything that happened with Benoit, but obviously, if you want to talk about pure wrestling matches, definitely something a lot of people really gravitated towards. Vampiro over General Erection, which was Hugh Morris's gimmick at the time. Harris Brothers over Billy Kidman and Disco Inferno. Dr. Tom Pritchard lost to Lightning Tim Horner. Shark Boy over Jamie Son, which is Jamie Noble, who you know him as obviously one of the Stooges in WWE now, former Ring of Honor World Champion James Gibson. Then we had Reckless Youth lost to Scotty Saber, and the people that would go on to become tag team partners and WCW tag team champions, the Natural Born Thrillers. Chuck Palumbo defeated his tag partner, his soon-to-be tag partner, Sean O'Hare. So yeah, that was very interesting. Very interesting situation there. And I went into an entire little diatribe about Brian Pillman. Basically because there's been a lot of wrestlers in my life that I've really enjoyed. I've enjoyed their work. And the character of the loose cannon Brian Pillman, always somebody that I've been a big fan of. I was a fan of Flying Brian. And I love the Hollywood Blondes. Pillman and Austin were a great tag team. I really wish they could have went further as a team. And when Brian had his car accident, it pretty much just ruined his entire career. And he basically, a lot of things he could have done, he wasn't able to do. And he's just one of my absolute favorites of all time. And I thought it was really cool Rosenberg was wearing his shirt. It was the WWF Brian Pillman Memorial shirt that they put out on. It wouldn't have been WWE Shop back then. Obviously, it just would have been like the catalog, the merch catalog you have in the WWF magazine. But yeah, something I wanted to give him credit for because we kind of beat him around a little bit, dialogue heavy wise last time. So yeah, I thought I'd bring that up real quick before we get into the rest of Raw. I took that time to talk about Brian Pillman. So this leads to our first match of the night on Raw. Loser is banned from ringside in the match tonight for the United States Championship. Roman Reigns against Chris Jericho, and they set the match up. It was Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. Solid match for what it was. Don't like the finish because it doesn't make sense for Owens' character, to be totally honest. Some good stuff, good back and forth action here. So we come back from commercial break. Owens has got the chin lock locked on at, let me check the time here, 8:25. And Rollins fights out of it, leaping back senton for a near fall, and basically does the well-placed stomp to the midsection. Kick to the chest and a big right hand. He knocks Rollins off the apron, and he goes for the cannonball against the barricade. Rollins moves out of the way, and they fight back in the ring. They break the count at 6. They trade blows back and forth, and Owens ends up getting caught. After he goes for the pop-up powerbomb, Rollins lands on his feet awkwardly and hits the ghetto blaster. 2 running forearms in the corner. Third time gets caught. Owens with the cannonball set up for it. He gets caught in the flatliner into the buckle and hits the sling blade. Owens is caught almost for the pedigree. He backdrops out of it. Rollins lands on his feet. Seth sends him over the top rope to the outside, hits the tope con hilo. Tope suicida, long day. And knocks him into the barricade. They start pounding away. The ref is counting, and Owens grabs the ring bell, hits him in the midsection, and of course, that's the DQ. So, yeah, it was a good match for what it was, and then it got ruined by a bad finish. I'll just put it that way. I did not like this at all. I think this is stupid, and it didn't really make much sense to me that Kevin Owens has been treated as such a cardboard champion at this point. Like, basically, the thing that bothers me about this reign, and I wanted this reign, and I was so glad when they gave the championship to Owens because he deserves it, but they've made him out to be a chicken champion, and I hate that. I hate this so much. Kevin Owens is a potential world beater. Obviously, when he came into NXT and he practically killed Sami Zayn to win the NXT championship, they stopped the match, obviously. So they've done this before, and now he's been relegated to, I need Chris Jericho to win, I need interference to win, I need weapons to win. I can't get over on my own merits, and that's something a character like Kevin Owens should not be dealing with on the regular, and that's something that they've relegated him to, and I don't like it at all. I've never liked it one bit. For what it was, though, the match was good, but like I said, I mean, it was kind of ruined by the finish, and the fact that, I don't know, this Kevin Dunn thing with him still shooting the crowd. I understand after big moments, but pick your time, and obviously your shots are definitely wrong most of the time. So yeah, but I don't film televised wrestling, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But I certainly understand after a big move, I maybe cut to the crowd, but like there's been times we've cut to the crowd and we've missed a match, we missed a move, we missed a spot, we missed a finish. That's happened recently. And after the match was over, Seth attacks him, and of course he ends up getting the best of Kevin Owens, going for the pedigree, but Owens powders and lives to get in the fight another day. They've made him too much of a chicken. I don't like that. I don't like what they're doing with that. I just hope that they do something better. Owens needs a decisive win. He needs to beat Roman Reigns at the Rumble without any help, without any interference. But the way their title reign is going for Kevin Owens, I think that what they're probably going to do is have Jericho interfere. Same thing they did with Paul Ellering at TakeOver. But Hopefully it'll work this time, because I do not want to see Roman Reigns going into WrestleMania as the Universal Champion. It's not something that should happen, and they're going to reject it. A lot of people will if they do it that way. Second match of the night, Cesaro taking on Carl Anderson. Sheamus on commentary. It's funny because Luke Gallows comes out and he's wearing his gear, and he's also wearing his coat and everything, and Anderson is the one is working the match. I thought that was kind of funny. Cesaro and Sheamus both have new shirts. I thought that was cool. Good hard-hitting match between these two. No surprise here. Cesaro continues to be the workhorse of WWE right now, and he can just do no wrong. Hit a really swank double jump flying body press for a near fall. He went for the double leg and goes for the swing, but he gets stopped. Anderson hits a spine buster for a near fall. Gallows already at ringside. Sheamus finally comes out. He's like, yeah, that's it. I'm going to come out anyway. And he goes for the fireman's carry. He escapes, ducks the clothesline of the springboard Swiss uppercut for a near fall. Goes for the Gotch style neutralizer. It gets countered and to a sunset flip. Goes for the swing, but he grabs the ropes. Swiss uppercut, this time a European uppercut from Carl Anderson. Boot in and a running knee. Whips him in, and he puts him on the buckle, drop kicks him, and Swiss uppercut knocks him off. He goes for the superplex from the outside in. And Gallows, this was an interesting finish. I actually like how they did this, because Gallows jumps up with the ring apron. Sheamus goes to pull him off. When Gallows is on the ring apron, he's got the top rope. So Cesaro is perched on the top at this point. So when he gets pulled, his partner gets pulled off the apron. He basically jerks the top rope, thus pretty much crotching Cesaro on the top rope, and Cesaro eats a neck breaker off the top, and Anderson wins. So yeah, really good match. I like this a lot. Very solid finish to this matchup, and hopefully there's no like problems between the two, because we've done a lot to have this strange bedfellows tag team with Cesaro and Sheamus, but I think they're finally on the right page for the first time, and they're going to keep that way, and we're not going to get some sort of a heel turn out of it, because it doesn't make any sense. Sheamus being a babyface makes more sense at this point, and I like the Sheamus and Cesaro team, and I don't mind them working with the Good Brothers, because I think it could be good for all four men in the long run. Welcome back, Ashley. Ashley has been having like the worst like technical issues when it comes to the shows lately. So when you see him pop up, if you're actually watching the screen and not just listening to me, you see Ashley pop up there. It's not a guarantee his voice is going to come up. See, there you go. It's gone already. So yeah, let's continue to talk about this. So we got into another segment here. Video package, the Braun Strowman, Sami Zayn video package. So that led to our next match. It is last man standing. Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn. Those of you know me very well and have listened to this network for quite a while, you understand I'm not a fan of Braun Strowman. I don't buy into him at all. A lot of people I haven't bought into in the past. I ended up buying into them later on. Strowman's taking a whole lot. One thing I really enjoyed in this, right off the bat, Sami Zayn goes for a moonsault off the barricade, gets caught, and he gets snake eyes. I thought that looked really good. They worked a lot of ring post spots. Sami sets up for the torpedo DDT, gets caught with a forearm, gets up at 8. He ragdolls Sami for pretty much the whole match, hits a running power slam on the outside. The Vader cross faces. He basically treating Sami Zayn literally like a redheaded stepchild and beating the daylights out of him. Hits a running power slam again, and he can't beat the count. They fought in the back. They brawled with tables and everything. They got to the top, and they were on the ramp, and Sami hit the flying body press, put off the stage through 2 tables that were set up quite ironically enough, right outside of the actual ramp itself. So yeah, Sami worked some chair shots, worked the Singapore cane. There's a lot of stuff here. It wasn't great, but it was okay. It was serviceable. We'll put it that way. And I understand if you want to get someone like Strowman over, you got to get a sympathetic babyface. And I said this before: if you want a new version of Daniel Bryan, it's definitely Sami Zayn. And that's the reason why I'd like to see Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble, and I think he deserves to win the Royal Rumble, but because they believe in Braun Strowman, he probably has a better shot at winning the Rumble at this point. God, I hope they don't go with that. They try a stretcher job, but Braun Strowman channels his inner Sid Vicious, and he basically shoves Sami off the actual stretcher itself. Tosses him into the barricade, says ashes to ashes, dust to dust. And of course, he doesn't say rest in peace, Stinger, your career is over. Because when I hear that, I always think of Paul Heyman, Clash of Champions, actually just talking about, well, the setup is for Clash of Champions, but obviously we're talking about Halloween Havoc, and it was the debut of Ravishing Rick Rude when he was the WCW Halloween Phantom. And he came in and he worked a squash match with Marcus Bagwell. And then he cut the promo and he said, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, rest in peace, Stinger, your career's over. Ladies and gentlemen, your next WCW United States champion, Ravishing Rick Rude. And Rude ripped off the mask, and it was amazing. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, the thing is, I don't care about Braun Strowman. I just don't. He's believable. I understand why he exists. And maybe he'll grow on me in time, but yeah, this isn't really doing much for me at all. And I don't really care about Braun Strowman at all. So I guess we'll see where we go with this from here. We get a short little video clip about Jack Gallagher and the Gentleman's Duel from 205 Live. I just love it so much. Very awesome. Gallagher, to me, comes off, when he shows up, he reminds me of Colin Firth in Kingsman. Ashley brings up the fact he's more like William Regal. I get that completely. And the New Day show up, and he basically gives them umbrella thrusting lessons. So they all dance, and that's pretty much the end of that. New Day comes out, and this is going to be a long one. So next thing you know, the New Day get interrupted right after they announce that they're officially entering the Royal Rumble. So all three of them are going to be in the Rumble. That's what it seems like, at least. They're interrupted by their same introduction, but it's Titus O'Neil. Yeah, Titus Brand. I don't know why they're doing that. Titus comes out dancing, and Titus basically says they need a new member of the New Day, and basically look no further than the Titus Brand. He's got rhythm, and he does the New Day rocks. He dances, and he goes to grab Francesca, but of course, no one puts their hands on Xavier's girl, and that doesn't work. So, yeah, he breaks out the actual whistle itself, and he starts whistling. So, yeah, he dances, and he dances more, and Biggie kind of stops him, and he says, you know what, Titus does blow. And he says, I'd like to have my face on a Booty-O's box. And Titus is like, I can't really imagine that. Maybe on the back of a milk carton, per se, but not necessarily a Booty-O's box. No one in the right mind would want to wake up in the morning and be looking at that. So that was Xavier's line. Titus goes, that's a strong joke coming from the weakest link of the New Day. And Xavier's like, I'm going to show you how much of a weak link I am. And he goes to challenge him to a match. Titus slugs him, and we come back and we actually get this match. Titus O'Neil versus Xavier Woods. Xavier gets ragdolled quite a bit. Hits the double backbreakers, and he tosses him to the side. Not much to this match at all. This was really nothing. Basically, we get to the end where Xavier gets tossed over the top, lands on the ring apron, hits the high kick, and Titus goes over the top. Xavier hits the tope con hilo somewhat, and Titus catches him, and then he does the good old-fashioned Barry Horowitz pat on the back. Titus sets him up one more time, and he picks him up on the shoulders, going for a Samoan drop, gets countered into a sunset flip, and Xavier wins. No idea what this really was. Don't understand why they're doing this. Don't know what they're doing with Titus O'Neil. I don't think they know what they're doing with Titus O'Neil at this point. Titus has got a lot of upside, but he's got a lot of charisma, but they don't see something, I guess. I mean, I hate to say that Vince is still butthurt about what happened before, but I mean, you never know. It's possible. I mean, Vince does hold grudges, so I completely understand where we can go with that. And I think Ashley is returned. Ashley, are you returned yet? Okay. We will continue to Ashley does come on in return. So Stephanie's backstage. texting Triple H about some sort of dinner plans. Bayley shows up and she wants to ask about why her win was taken away. And Charlotte has very powerful lawyers, so of course that happened. And why Dana Brooke was the referee, and that happened. Obviously, Steph had no choice. But she said point blank, "I never wanted you on Raw." Mick Foley was the one who did. Steph said that Charlotte has a name, she has a pedigree. She's a larger-than-life superstar. Bayley, she's just simply ordinary. And Bayley's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just Bayley. I don't have a famous last name like Stephanie McMahon. Like a famous last name like McMahon or Flair, but I do belong on Raw. I may not be what you considered a champion to be, but I'm Bayley, and that's good enough for me. So nothing's going to stop her from achieving her dreams. And right away, she was like, okay, fine. You want to prove yourself? Number one contenders tonight. You face Nia Jax. So yay. Welcome back, Ashley.
You know what? I couldn't help notice. I have a problem, by the way. I couldn't help notice that you didn't invite my best friend here. Well, you know what? I'm inviting my best friend here. Chris! Chris! Chris!
Yeah.
My problem is with your with the technological setup on the network most of the time.
Yeah. It's his fault. I forgot that I had that clip highlighted because I might be using it in a bit.
Well,
so yeah. In terms of, I'm guessing I'll cover the matches. Owens Rollins was pretty damn decent. Wouldn't say it was good. Good sort of. It's a shame that they did the DQ finish like they did.
I hated the finish. It made Owens' character look totally weak. Even more so than normal.
Cesaro and Anderson was good. The last man stand is pretty good. But if it's trying to prove that Braun Strowman is a contender for the Rumble, it really doesn't. Because if he was that dominant, he wouldn't need to keep beating the shit out of him just to beat the shit out of him for beating the shit out of him's sake. And of course, we had the the fucking New Day with Jack Gallagher. Why the fuck he was there, I don't know, because that was Jack Gallagher's only contribution. Fuck. The fact though that Titus's face should be on the back of a milk carton, I'm guessing WWE can do that. I think it should be. Because then the weird thing is, he will technically be part of a New Day, because most people have milk with their cereal.
You mean like the Where's Trent gimmick that Zack Ryder did on Z True Long Island Story back in the day?
Probably. So yeah. Oh, and also hashtag demote Nia Jax to developmental.
Yeah, we'll get to her in a minute. So now we are at Noam Dar talking to Cedric Alexander and Alicia Fox.
I know I've been a bit of a bully over the last few weeks, so I just want to say I'm sorry. And let's start things on a fresh slate. And Cedric's like, you shouldn't really be apologizing to me. You should be apologizing to her. And he goes, oh, no, right, of course. I'm sorry, Alicia. Sweet cheeks.
Can we drop this, please? The only good thing about this is Noam Dar is just really awesomely creepy. I like that.
I'm gonna fucking keep it. I'm gonna fucking creep into your bed, Alicia, and I'm gonna fucking stick my dick in you. But the surprise is, I won't say which hole.
Oh, God.
Oh, fuck that.
Oh, my God. I swear to you, no one heard. No, I swear to you, somebody, because I know they listen, somebody heard when we were saying that thing about Wade Barrett and the seductive voice that one time on Raw, and somebody thought about that. They're like, hey, let's give that gimmick to Noam Dar and see what they do. Other than this, I absolutely hate the storyline. I've never cared about Alicia Fox. Cedric does not need a gimmick of a valet in order for this to get over.
I'm going to give you a proper champagne supernova.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to come all over your fucking leg.
Oh, my God. Why? I know it's late. I get that. But, dear God, why? All right, let's get away from the Noam Dar storyline.
It's because I missed Okada failing at Tekken to Gato.
Yeah,
So yeah, from this, for some reason, because this feud's still going, even though it isn't a feud, because clearly the feud is Foxy. Cedric versus Gulak.
Good match, but way too short.
Yeah. And of course, you know, Alicia's, well, she isn't botching. Well, she isn't botching, but she's costing people matches.
Yeah.
As she always does. Oh God, I've just fucking realized what's going to happen. Guess who they find as his girl? That's gonna piss off Del Rio.
No, I don't think she's coming back to television.
Yeah. No, that will happen. They're gonna fucking rub it in her face. And then she's gonna actually realize that she don't want to be with Del Rio, and she'll go out with Dar instead.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, there's some. This was decent for what it was, but it was way too short. Way too short. But 205 Live is basically where these matches need to happen, not on Raw.
Except it won't be this week, obviously.
So Cedric with the back elbow, and he hits the handspring round kick, and he sets up, and Tony Nese gets on the ring apron. Foxy pulls him off because whatever. Cedric is distracted by this, and he gets rolled up. Gulak gets the tights and gets the win. Okay,
yeah.
Sure. Sure. Why not?
Yeah. This is the cruiserweight division now. I'm gonna fucking rape you, followed by shit matches.
It's John O'Clock somewhere, says the sign in the crowd.
The cruiserweight division isn't getting over. Is it because it's like the fucking writers of the Divas division have now moved on to the cruiserweights on the Raw brand?
Makes sense.
All
right.
Speaking of writing, US title match.
Yeah. His match was fine. I didn't like the finish here either. But I mean, they really need to get Roman to drop the title. I don't care why or how or whom. Somebody needs to get that title off of him, because that title's been defended once since he won it.
Do they seriously think that he has to be face because he's the money draw?
It's the Cena situation.
If you look for the past couple of years, I'm pretty sure the heels have been the biggest draws in terms of money.
Once again, it brings back the same situation I talk about and have talked about numerous times on numerous podcasts. Who, other than John Cena, who's the biggest person when it comes to doing charitable donations, and Make-A-Wish. The Miz.
Yeah. Mm.
And The Miz is heel as can be on television. That's why I don't understand why it would be so hard to turn Roman, because the crowd just doesn't care. They think...
Look at the fucking Connor story. That was when Team Hell No was a thing, when they were heels.
Right.
But were being cheered because it's Daniel Bryan.
Right.
Also came, but you know, that's the ampersand. Last year I'm pretty sure Rollins outsold practically everybody but Cena.
Agreed.
And this past year, as if we're going by the fact that Roman fucking corpsed, from what I can tell, Kevin makes a fuck ton of money from merch as well. And rightfully mouthed off for fans saying you're worthless. Because I think he was saying like, well, I get a cut of $38,000 every show. So I'm pretty sure I'm not worthless.
And then, of course, Roman
Roman's
took to Twitter and made himself look even worse.
Yeah, and Kevin replied and made him look even better.
Yep. Let's get to this match. Other than the fact that I don't care to see Roman Reigns in the main event of anything anymore, because they are just bound determined not to build any new stars. There's one person they're trying to push, and it's the wrong answer.
I think they're adamant that they're trying to be kid friendly.
They are, but
realizing that there's plenty of other people that they could push who would also be kid friendly, but at the same time have a much more mass appeal. Case in point, AJ.
I have a feeling we're going to get a double turn soon.
When AJ's up against Cena, it is going to be more boos and cheers from the kids. But I'm pretty sure, certainly with Dean and, Ellsworth and all that sort of stuff, it's been more positive towards him. Because even the kids realize, because they don't watch TNA, what an incredible year it was for him last year. Exactly the opposite could be said for the last 2 years for Roman. We're getting to admittedly, this time it isn't actually the Rumble match itself. It's the actual title match this time. But he's still factoring in the road to WrestleMania for the 3rd straight year. Technically, I guess 4th, but the irony is that would have been when the fire was hot.
Yeah.
The fact that everybody wanted Roman to win because they didn't want Batista to win would have been the right time to pull the trigger.
Right.
And if they'd have done that then, I think people would have embraced him as the... Then, of course, you wouldn't have had all the Daniel Bryan stuff. So there's the conflict of interest. It is the annoying thing. But I don't think you would have had the issues, to be quite honest. Which then built into how he was hated at 31, or hated at Rumble 2015 and 31, and hated at Rumble 2016 and 32. And they honestly think if they keep doing it, people will accept it. WWE doesn't realize that most of their fans, even the kids that are growing up, are not goldfish. Especially when you keep telling everybody to get the WWE Network, which means they can be reminded of all this shit over and over. And, Reigns sort of got fucked this year, even with the US title thing, because they're writing his character, and we did see it tonight as well, as sort of a somewhat of a tweener, would you say, Owen?
A little bit.
Because he's not really super face. He's trying to blur the lines as much as possible, which again, the writers are hoping that'll get him accepted. It won't.
No. They're trying to tease the Shield again, too, because they realize that's one of their go-tos that can always get Roman at least some passive cheers.
Yeah, but I think if you had a proper triple reunion again, the problem is the music. Who's the one that still has the Shield's entrance music?
It's like everybody is like let the Shield like become a distant memory except for Roman.
Yeah. Most important thing though in this match, though, given that we were in Tampa and WCW country, was we did the Eddie tribute.
Oh my God, yes, that was awesome.
I must say the referee nearly fucked her up. Because he threw the belt over and bumped just as the referee was turning around, so he could have seen that nothing happened. But in essence, the timing became absolutely perfect because he was glimpsing Roman with the belt just as like the bump that Chris did happened, as if to add to the fact that, you know, oh my God, he hit me, ref, DQ him, let me have the title. It was touch and go, but it sort of just about became perfection.
I mean, I liked it. I liked it a lot. And Jericho did a picture-perfect back bump, too. When you are training to be a wrestler, that's one of the first things you learn is how to take a perfect back bump, and that's exactly what Jericho did.
Please tell me that clip's on WWE.com, because it needs to be used by Mike Quackenbush to teach everybody how to do a back bump.
Exactly.
Classes.
But yeah, basically, Jericho ends up doing the old let's untie the turnbuckle pad and take it off. And of course, that ends up being his undoing. I call it setting up your own demise. I've done it numerous times. And he's the one that ends up getting sent into the buckle, and he eats the spear, and Roman retains. I don't like the finish of this match, but the match overall was fine. I didn't mind it. I like the Eddie tease. I thought that worked really well. I think that it was a good idea to have it done without any interference whatsoever. Jericho basically screwed himself because he set something up and it ended up costing himself the match. So I'm glad Owens didn't get involved here because he didn't really need to. Yeah, but they got to get that title off of Roman quick. But not to give him any other titles. He can be a main eventer without being a champion or chasing for a title. Come on. The problem is another person I want in the main event picture and deserves to be in the main event picture is now in a tag team. So can't be in the main event picture at this point. But once he's able to, I really want to see 2017 be the year that they finally commit to pushing Cesaro this time around.
No. He somehow got involved with Tyson Kidd, so he's cursed.
Like pretty much every single week, Cesaro is always one of the highlights of Raw, and it's just because of what he does as a performer.
It's a shame there isn't a 6-man tag, because I'm determined for it to be New Day or Mustache Mountain.
And we need new tag teams in Raw. I mean, I understand I've been calling with the Revival showing up and taking the titles off American Alpha. And I think that's going to happen. You've got a while before Mustache Mountain shows up anywhere. So we get our subsequent cruiserweight match. The other one being Brian Kendrick versus TJP. Very.
Let's do it. Let's do it right. It's TJ Perkins. TJ Perkins on the stage. TJ Perkins. Wear his fucking belt. It's TJ Perkins. Why is he still fucking doing the dab? It's not relevant anymore.
Exactly. The storyline here, some really good stuff. Perkins hits a nice Hurricane Rana. Kendrick ends up shoving him into the buckle, goes for sliced bread, gets countered in the detonation kick. He locks on the knee bar, and TJP clutch finishes it off. So, yeah, fun times. No point to it, but I don't have a problem with these two facing off. So, yes. So, in a week, we're going to be doing our tournament to crown the first ever United Kingdom champion. We are going to be covering that specially a different way. We're not going to be doing it live, but we are going to be covering it probably Monday.
Yeah, there will be a video up for that Monday. Me and Owen are probably, because Owen, I think, is going to watch it live.
You're correct.
Probably.
As long as I don't have to work, yes, you're correct.
I shouldn't say stuck, because after what happened on last night's episode, I'm marking out for possibly the last ever episode of Sherlock in cinemas. Except it's at exactly the same time as the culmination of the tournament. So sorry, Triple H. Fuck you. I need to see a man about Moriarty. So it will be coming basically later that evening, early Monday morning, whatever.
Right.
By the way, Emelina's coming soon.
Sure.
The thing is, though, as soon as I press the thing, Owen's gonna know the meaning. God damn it, where's the clip? The one thing to note is, where the fuck is it? Yeah, there it is. It's going to be, there's always something to note about a comeback.
Everyone loves a good comeback story, right? Seabiscuit, the Mighty Johnny Jr., Rocky, else? Yes.
Kim Kardashian.
Well,
in the video, she gets cum on her back, I think.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We could ask Lana for that scene in Banshee. Because I only just remembered that literally just by hearing the words coming back. Funny that I mentioned that, of course, because it's a Rusev match. Completely forgot the significance of that. Also worth noting that I don't know what the fuck was going on with this segment. Because Enzo comes out and says, I'm injured, and Cass goes, I'm willing to take you both on. There's only one word to describe you. No, there's only one word to describe me, and I'm going to spell it out. OUTNUMBERED. Fucked.
Pretty much.
The most disturbing thing of this fucking match is Jinder Mahal won a match.
It was a distraction finish, though.
Okay. He won a match. I disapprove of this shit.
I don't really care either way. I don't care about the storyline. Enzo and Cass are like the roses. The bloom has fallen off the rose.
True.
I mean, I liked Enzo and Cass in NXT, and I liked them in WWE when they first came up, but now it's kind of like it's the same old stuff every single week.
Yep. And that's Vince.
Yeah, I know.
It's funny. So let's keep going with it, damn it.
Nope.
Oh, we've got a special message for Jinder Mahal here, apparently. If ever fucking loads.
Read what you want to read. Believe what you want to believe. But go to bed.
Ah, there you go.
I will very soon.
No, it's Jinder. Wait, did Ric Flair actually call CM Punk's finishing move 20 years earlier than it happened?
Oh, God. Anyway.
So Charlotte's on commentary for the next match, but then the most important thing is revealed to people that don't watch SmackDown, which of course everybody does, and 205 Live, which nobody does. Tajiri's on 205 Live tomorrow. I'm intrigued to get up against. We obviously know it isn't, because that's what happens when you enter a match injured or get injured during the match. Who knows which? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think if there's any. Oh God, do you think there's going to be some Floridian indie talent?
Maybe.
It's going to job to Tajiri.
I know somebody I'd like to see it be, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
I don't want him beating the shit out of Aaron. That's cruel.
I'd like to see Chico Adams get a shot. That'd be pretty cool.
Well, we'll never know. Is he 205?
Yeah, it should be.
That's if they weigh them for 205 Live. They might not.
So our technical main event on the show is Bayley versus Nia Jax.
Oh God.
Not really good at all. Not surprising. Nia with
This sums it up.
What is this shit?
Nia ragdolled Bayley for most of the match, or what you could call a match. She hit the Sudanese meat cleaver. Yeah, the Abdullah the Butcher elbow twice. And that was almost enough to put her away. And then she comes off the ropes since the leg drop to the back of the head. She drags her to the corner, and Nia's in the middle turnbuckle. Next thing you know, Sasha Banks' music hits. She comes out in a knee brace. And that's enough for a distraction for Bayley to climb up, hit the belly to Bayley, and get the win. So Bayley and Charlotte at the Royal Rumble.
Who fucking knew? Hashtag everybody.
Because after Bayley wins, you have Charlotte has been defeated finally. You have Bayley get ready to be congratulated by her friend Sasha Banks, and then Sasha lays her out, and we get Bayley and Sasha Banks. And that's what's going to happen until Sasha ends up going to SmackDown, like we've been teasing. Main event time. Oh, that was your wrestling main event. The final segment involved a man literally with a banner reading the Kevin Owens show over his face. I approve.
Yeah. But you noticed the most important thing.
Look at this. See what color Kevin's show is? It's red. Red is for Raw. Are you happy now? There's red. Yeah, Phil, the red of the blood that courses through our winning veins tonight, man.
So I had to use that because that's the first time Kevin Owens' show came up as a graphic. And then it got stuck to that man's face.
That was
Great if we
great.
found out who that man was. I don't think we will.
Not tonight, we won't.
What I love about this is, of course, Kevin and Chris had the like marble-esque table and the office chairs, and the guest chair was just like a standard camper van like deck chair. So it was like classy on one side, and then everything from the sign to the other side was as tacky as fuck. I actually wanted to become a thing really like that.
I wouldn't mind it. Don't forget the last time we got the Kevin Steen show, we had like cardboard signs and
Yeah, I wonder what happened to that, Dean. Unoriginal shit. So Kevin's like, it's only fair that me and Chris are main eventing Raw. It's now time to introduce a guest, a man that needs no introduction, the man who defined the Attitude Era and has had fans for years chanting his name, Chris Jericho! The fans had a mixed response. They basically made out like apparently everybody wanted Goldberg, which they didn't. I'm saying like, wait, you want Goldberg? You know what happens when you chant Goldberg at me, Chris Jericho? You know what happens when you chant that man's name? Tampa, Florida. You just made the list. And I think that got the loudest pop of the night.
well, yeah, of
It's
course.
like, the list is back. Yes. And then Jericho goes, whoa, I got some breaking news just coming in. Now we know who number one is. The number one contender for the Rumble is, and that's Brock Lesnar or Goldberg, our guest. And we know that number two is Brock Lesnar. But now we know number three. And I'm going, it's Big E. Number four, Xavier Woods. Number five, Kofi Kingston. Promo ruined.
Pretty much.
But number three, allegedly, is Jericho. And Kevin's like, that was your big breaking. Sorry, I thought it was something really awesome. Like you'd want a car or something.
That's great.
Because she's like, no, it's awesome. You win your main event, I win my main event. The best friends take each other on at WrestleMania, and no matter what happens, we'll both still be Universal Champions. Isn't that great? And Kevin goes, no, that isn't great at all. So again, we're sort of teasing the descent here. And then sorry, somebody at the door. Let me get it. Oh yeah, it's Goldberg. So yeah, Goldberg comes out. The great as Goldberg's coming down to the ring, Kevin Owens' show sign on face guy has fucking disappeared. For all we know, he's actually dead. So Goldberg comes in the ring and goes, So, you're in the Royal Rumble? I guess that means Chris Jericho? You're first! And I'm going, wait, wasn't that Hugh Morris? Please tell me you ain't got the reference.
Of course it was. It was the first guy that Goldberg beat.
So, you know, Goldberg just takes his jacket off and throws the picnic chair out the ring. And yeah, it's like, wow. Chris is like, wow, you know, what are you gonna do about it, the Rumble? And bloody Bill just gets in their faces and goes, spear, jackhammer. And of course, Kevin rightfully goes, you just getting in my face and shouting moves at me, is that supposed to make me petrified? You know what? Hold on a second. And he goes and throws the table and the other chairs out the ring himself. It's just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. They get in each other's faces saying, you know, I won't be disrespected. I'm the Universal Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. And none of this matters. Because here's a spoiler for what's going to happen at the Royal Rumble. Eat, sleep, repeat, elimination, repeat, elimination, repeat, elimination, repeat, elimination, repeat, etc., etc. And Goldberg just cuts him off, says, don't worry. I'll deal with your client at the Rumble. And once that's done, whether it be you, whether it you, Kevin, or Roman, you'll be next. Cue Roman's music, and I'm going, oh, for fuck's sake. And then Roman says, I got issues with you, Kevin, but I'll deal with them at the Rumble. But first, I need to talk to you. And he goes and turns to Goldberg, and they have a stare down in the ring. You know, spear punch versus Batman jackhammer. Because DC are going to market the fuck out of this. Because they need to get sales back up for their franchise. And then... And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What the actual fuck is going on? Braun comes out and says, it don't matter. I will win Rumble. I fuck your face. Make you happy. Bah! During this point, Jericho and Owens have just fled the ring.
Do you blame them?
No.
I don't either.
Why would they want to be in the same fucking ring as Braun Strowman? That's Roman and Goldberg. Okay, they speared the shit out of him. But what they should have done is actually, you know, injured him so he can't wrestle for another 9 months. Yeah. Why is it the fucking good guys like Balor injuries? Yet the shit ones like Braun Strowman are apparently impervious. Like, seriously. And that's how we end the show. We literally had a... the closest I can say is the equivalent of a go-home show, I'm winning the Rumble promo. Except we had it 3 weeks early.
Makes me real nervous about where we're going from here.
Yeah. Because there's literally, I think, at first I was thinking there was 2 or 3 possibilities for the Rumble. I honestly think there's probably about 10 at the minute now.
Yep.
Because I think Brock versus Goldberg, if it's happening at Mania, which is one of the rumored matches
It is.
for the title,
Oh, I hope not.
if it was done right, if they want to make it the biggest ever and they want mainstream eyes watching it, that's probably the closest that they've got to getting it. Just think the other ones are Triple H versus Rollins, which doesn't need to be for the belt.
Nope.
Like it wasn't going to be last year if the plans were true. And then I think the other one was, I can't remember.
Shaq and Big Show.
Yeah, that's the other one. Which I think is clearly happening because you're not seeing Big Show do fuck all. So that means everything else is up in the air.
Right.
Focusing on the Raw brand, obviously, at the minute, but, somebody from SmackDown could win. That's why I'm literally saying there's probably now about a dozen possible ways they could go. And that leaves me both excited and terrified at the same time. Because I don't want it for a third straight year, especially because it's the biggest crowd that the Rumble will have had in a decade. Since probably it was an epic match, arguably 2007, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with the final 2 being, Michaels and Undertaker. Before those matches at Mania 25 and 26. A couple of years later. I don't know. I just found it weird that they actually did like a go home segment, sort of, this early.
I don't necessarily think they know exactly where they're going right now.
Because the fact of the matter is, obviously you'd have to take Kevin and Roman out of it because they're in the title picture. It is, of course, feasible that one or the other could be in the Rumble match if they lose.
Yeah.
That match, because it's happened before. But given the level of the roster that they've got, it probably won't be. Because they've got enough people to make up the 30 without having those people involved. So, especially when you take into account when we don't know what HBK and Taker are doing next week. We'll have to obviously find out.
Well,
Brock's back the 16th, I think.
Yeah, but
so in 2 weeks.
We do have an idea what Shawn Michaels is doing.
Well, yeah, because he's doing publicity for the film.
Right.
But I'm wondering what other capacity he's going to be there for. Because I'm guessing something's going to happen. What I'm fearing is that it's going to be Titus.
It's possible.
Saying, why did you get a movie, just like it was with Mark Henry or something?
Mm.
Like, why did you get a movie deal? Or, of course, the interesting one is Seth Rollins. Because he wants Triple H. Which probably will then lead to Triple H interfering in the Rumble. And that's how you build that feud. I don't know. Because apparently we're copying every single Daniel Bryan storyline in every single angle that's happening right now on the entire product, bar NXT, just to piss Daniel off. So there you go. And I'm guessing that we can probably call it now. There's just going to be a mass brawl at the Raw before the Rumble.
Probably.
And on the in some shape or form. Because the fact that that's the only time Brock and Goldberg are going to be together before Rumble, that's when you need to have the proper giant fight rather than the somewhat choreographed beatdown that we got for the final segment tonight.
Right.
It does leave it interesting, though. You know, as much as it's a pain to sit through some of this stuff, because, you know, the tediousness of it,
Yes.
I'm willing to stick with it to see where it goes. Especially next week, obviously, with the the WrestleMania announcement probably coming that weekend.
Yeah, they're going to have to announce it. They'll announce it at Raw. It makes perfect sense.
We might announce it in the morning.
Tickets are going. There'll be some sort of a gimmick where, and they did this before. They did this at Amway. Where they basically said that something was going to be going down. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to your email for more information. Something like that.
Does that mean whoever gets Raw next January will be having Mania 35?
Possibly.
Because I'm pretty sure they did it like this last year when they announced Orlando, didn't they?
Yep.
And I think they did it for San Fran.
Something like that.
I'm not sure about New Orleans. Because that was at the time when the actual reveal came on WrestleMania. Now it's become such a big thing that they have to do it weeks, months beforehand.
Right.
You know, like the Hall of Fame announcement stuff. It's interesting.
I mean, it's another show.
Yeah. The thing is, you know, they're saying, oh, we don't want to lose to SmackDown in the ratings. And I know it was brought up as one of the questions on the bloody whatever the fuck that show's called.
Mm.
But the fact that they're saying, oh, the hot topic of the moment is Survivor Series. No, it fucking isn't. Is there any way you could show it was more of a pilot than showing that? Also, it doesn't help that the show's pre-recorded.
Mm.
If there's any show that needed to be live, you know, to be a proper debate thing, it was that. And also, who the fuck is this Peter bloke? People can keep saying to me, oh, he's such and such and such and such. I don't care. He is nobody that the majority of the Western world will have heard of, or the Eastern world, or whatever world. Americans have probably heard of him. Canadians less so, but more probably. Nobody in the UK is going to know who he fucking is. On the flip side, there's a lot more people over here that know who Sam Roberts is. But the thing is, I don't want Sam Roberts to be associated with that shit. I think Sam's got a pretty, successful career of his own, whereas Rosenberg's trying to wreck his career, clearly. Yeah, thing.
Well, while you were at it, while you were away, I I did mention I put over his Brian Pillman shirt. That was the only thing I will give him credit for.
Yeah, but you know, the hosting it was surely would be. He's got the history, you know, all that sort of stuff. Makes much more sense.
So that was a go-home show that was 3 weeks early.
Yep.
I shudder to think what's going on the rest of the time. But yeah,
I get thing.
On that note, I think that's our show.
Oh my god. The amount of kids that are too sweet and Kenny Omega is fucking incredible.
I saw that. So speaking of that, this Wednesday night, 9 p.m., back here on the Popcast Network for the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast. We're talking NXT Melbourne, as well as Ring of Honor, another one of the best of shows. What Culture Pro Wrestling is still on hiatus for a bit.
Yeah, unless they put up another random video. Well, technically, for this week, technically, but of course, Thursday is Kirby Mania.
Right.
Live. Owen won't be watching because, you know.
Yep, exactly right. Also, on top of that, with the normal stuff we cover on the Wednesday Wrestling Podcast, 205 Live SmackDown, as well as Lucha Underground, we will be also covering Wrestle Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's going to be fun.
Turns out they've been doing a whole load of shit stuff tonight. By the way, I have no clue what the Japanese woman's saying that's like sort of hosting the event as it's being broadcast, but she's more fucking emotional than Dasha and great Charlie Caruso put together. And I don't even know what she's saying.
Fair point.
That says quite a lot, WWE.
So that's the Wednesday show coming up tomorrow, 9 p.m. Thursday, we're back in Sip and Snack Land. Friday, okay, here's the interesting thing. Friday will be AJ's movie reviews. Now, what's on that video, I cannot tell you at this point. I can tell you you're getting at least one, if not two, AJ's movie reviews this week. We will be reviewing Manchester by the Sea. We will be reviewing Hidden Figures. And yes, I can finally say this. We are finally seeing La La Land, and I am super excited. Underworld, I guess, will be done too. Plus, some other releases from 2016 that AJ finally got around to. So that video is going to be coming up soon. That's probably going to be your Saturday video, actually. Sunday is going to go to Versus, and Sunday, of course, is the Golden Globes. So if you want to see what AJ, Ashley, and myself predicted for the Golden Globes, that video is available on this network. It went up yesterday, so check that out. You want to see our Oscar predictions? Those are up in 2 parts on this network as well, so check those out. When we get more Halloween Horror Nights news, I will bring that out to you. We should be finding out very soon who's performing at Mardi Gras this year at Universal. So once that happens, there'll be a video based on that too. So a lot of great coverage here on the network for the next several weeks. The movie content will be taking over along with the wrestling content. So yeah, movies and wrestling are pretty much going to be leading this network for the next 2 months. So yeah, makes perfect sense to me. Shout out to everybody that is normally on this show. when it comes down to it, you can find all their YouTube channels and their social media handles here in the description bar, as well as shout out to Jeremy Mills for joining us in chat tonight. So yeah, that's our show. Ashley?
Yeah, there's no Game with Ash till probably next week because I'm in the middle of fucking one, marking up for Sherlock, and two, being the stupid shit that's actually staying up to watch all the New Japan matches, which includes the ones that are happening in a couple of hours as part of the undercard pre-show or whatever. Which is basically young boys getting the shit beat out of by veterans.
Yes.
It's always good. Especially when it's probably the only time we're going to see Liger. A better play his fucking music.
I think Liger's going to be in Rambo. I think I heard Liger's going to be in Rambo. The Rumble.
Rambo?
Yes.
Don't call it Rambo.
That's what I saw it called.
It's not. It's because they can't say Rumble properly.
I saw
How?
it.
You know, they think go home is go home.
So yeah, Liger's supposed to be in the Rumble along with Hiroshi Tenzan, Manabu Nakanishi, Ryusuke Taguchi, Tiger Mask, and Yuji Nagata. To name a few.
Yep. Probably.
So lots of New Japan coverage here on the network this weekend. So stay tuned this Wednesday for the show. And what we don't get to cover, we will be covering next week. So yeah, along with the normal stuff we cover on Wednesday. Check out Ashley's segments on the SNS Radio Network and also some other great podcasts at snsradionetwork.com. And you can follow Ashley on at AshIsMyNameUK on Twitter. Follow the network on Twitter at Popcast Network. Follow me on Twitter at Siro and Disney. And check out Popcast Network for our Facebook fan page, almost to 200 likes. Thank you so much for making that happen. As well as our merchandise, our Zazzle store is available at Popcast Network, and also our Patreon is available at Popcast Network. So that's what we've got for this week.
Oh, shit. Sorry, I'm getting deafened by Japanese rap.
Good
That's
Lord.
fucking disturbing.
So that's what we've got for tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. And in a world where there are a billion wrestling podcasts, we're very pleased that once more tonight you've chosen a podcast. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. Quick predictions right now. I think it's going to be a really great night for the Bullet Club at Wrestle Kingdom 11. That's for sure. And some new champions, including a new not only IWGP champion, the first ever Gaijin to win the championship, first ever Canadian to win the championship at Wrestle Kingdom. Looking forward to seeing this. And also, I think we have a new Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, among other things. So until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.
Man, this Japanese crowd fucking hates rap music. Why did they choose this as the theme? Oh, wait, it could be worse. It could be Florida.